Barcelona's new front four is scary.
Far tonight, the 17-year-old. This is brilliant from Lamine Yamal. Oh, it's
like genuinely terrifying. And I'm not just saying that because of the names. I'm saying that because of what they've already done and what they're about to do. Nico Williams, Rafinha, Roony, Bardghji, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal. But how good is this squad? And can they win Barcelona the treble this season? Well, let's talk about that. Look, let's be honest. Nobody expected Barcelona to look that dominant last season. Not with the mess they were cleaning up, not with the youth they were depending on, and especially not with a brand new coach taking over. But under Hansi Flick, they flipped the script completely. They won LaLiga with clarity, not by scraping results or relying on luck. They controlled games. Their pressing was coordinated, their passing had rhythm again, and their mentality, ruthless. Then came the Copa del Rey. Same story. Game after game, they moved through the rounds with confidence, handling the pressure without breaking a sweat. They even managed the big moments, like a season Champions League winning team. And the Supercopa? That one probably hurt Real Madrid the most, because that's where Barcelona didn't just win, they humiliated Madrid. The kind of performance that shuts down debates. Flick outcoached them, Barca outplayed them, and it was clear, Barcelona was back. And let's not forget, this was Flick's first season. He walked in, made tactical adjustments, elevated key players, and won every domestic trophy. It wasn't flashy, it was efficient. He didn't just bring structure, he brought clarity. Everyone knew their roles, the players looked confident again, and the results followed. But that dominance, it didn't fully translate to the international stage. Now, as dominant as Barcelona were in Spain, the Champions League was a different story. That's where the pain came in. Because, for all the trophies they lifted domestically, Europe exposed something deeper. A lack of depth, especially in attack. They made it to the semi-finals, which sounds great on paper, but if you watch those games, especially against Inter Milan, you could tell something was off. The starting 11 was solid, no doubt, but once the game was on, once substitutions became necessary, there just wasn't enough firepower on the bench, and Inter, they smelled it. They sat deep, absorbed pressure, and waited. When it was time to strike, they were more clinical, more fresh, and simply more dangerous off the bench. Now, let's be fair. That semi-final wasn't just about tactics and fatigue. There were some questionable refereeing decisions and moments that shifted the tempo and left the players frustrated. But let's not blame it all on the officials. The reality is, Barcelona didn't have enough attacking options. They had players playing out of position, they had wingers asked to be creators, and strikers forced to drop deep. It was all patchwork. And Flick saw it. He knew that if Barcelona wanted to win everything, not just in Spain, but in Europe, he couldn't go into another season like that. So, he built a solution, a four-man attack that doesn't just fix the depth issue, it completely transforms Barcelona's threat level. One that's built to destroy tired defenses, control tempo, and bury games before substitutions are even needed. Let's start with the player who, for me, was Barcelona's most decisive attacker last season, Rafinha. You see, a lot of people had doubts about Rafinha when he first came to Barca. Some thought he was just another flashy winger, all dribbles and no end product. But last season, he answered everyone, not with words, but with numbers and impact. He finished the season with 34 goals and over 25 assists in all competitions. Those are not just good numbers, those are world-class numbers. We're talking about a player who was directly involved in nearly 60 goals in one season. That's elite output. But what made that possible wasn't just his talent, it was the way Hansi Flick used him. Instead of keeping Rafinha glued to the right wing like previous managers, Flick gave him a bit more freedom. And most importantly, he moved him to the left side just the way Xavi did, which surprised a lot of people. But it worked. Why? Because from the left flank, Rafinha wasn't just cutting inside to shoot, he was drifting centrally, playing closer to Lewandowski, and operating almost like a second striker. That positional tweak changed everything. He wasn't stuck wide trying to beat two defenders, he was finding pockets of space between the lines. He was arriving in the box at the right time. He became a constant goal threat, not just a chance creator. And beyond the goals and assists, it's the timing that stood out. Decisive moments, clutch goals, match-winning assists. Whether it was in El Clasico, Copa del Rey, or the title race run-ins, Rafinha showed up when it mattered. But here's the thing, as good as he was last season, he might even be better this year. And the reason for that isn't just his development or confidence, it's because of Nico Williams. Nico's arrival changes the dynamics of this team. It means Rafinha no longer has to cover as much ground or shift wide depending on the game. With Nico on the left, Rafinha can fully commit to that central second striker role, where he was lethal last year. That's where he thrives. That's where he doesn't just influence the game, he finishes it. So yeah, Rafinha was a beast last season, but with this new structure, he might become something even more dangerous. And now, let's talk about the new signing who's unlocking this version of Rafinha, the one who's coming in with pace, flair, and the perfect tactical profile for Flick's system, Nico Williams. And listen, I know his numbers don't scream world beater just yet. 11 goals and 7 assists last season, it isn't exactly earth-shattering. But when you watch him, when you see how he plays, you realize immediately, this kid's different. First off, Nico brings something that Barcelona's attack was missing, pure vertical threat. He's direct, he takes defenders on without hesitation, he's got explosive pace and quick acceleration, and he's incredibly sharp in 1v1 situations. Whether it's hugging the touchline or cutting inside, he forces teams to adjust. Defenders can't ignore him, and that opens up space for everyone else. But beyond the flash and footwork, Nico is intelligent. He doesn't just run for the sake of running, he times his movements. He knows when to stretch the pitch, and he understands when to come short and drag defenders out of position. That's exactly the kind of winger Hansi Flick loves, someone who not only stretches defenses, but also reads the tactical flow of a game. And that's why his arrival isn't just a signing, it's a structural change. Because now, Flick doesn't have to force Rafinha to play wide left anymore. Nico naturally owns that left side. He gives width, he brings chaos, and he keeps fullbacks pinned. And that freedom, it allows Rafinha to move into the central zones, where he becomes a constant goal threat. We already saw glimpses of Rafinha thriving in that second striker role. Now he gets to live there full time, all thanks to Nico. But here's another reason why Nico is such a good fit. He's coachable. You can see that from his time at Athletic Club and with Spain. He tracks back, he listens, he presses when he's told. That work ethic is key for Flick because this system demands balance. You can't just attack, you have to defend from the front, and Nico does that. Now, imagine the matchup problems. Nico stretching defenses on the left, Rafinha ghosting into central areas, Lewandowski occupying the backline, and Lamine Yamal doing his thing on the right. That's 4 threats, 4 very different types of danger, and Nico is the piece that lets it all click. So, while his goal and assist numbers aren't quite there yet, under Flick's system with better service, more runners around him, and a team built for fluid attacking play, Nico Williams could explode this season. And speaking of consistency and goal output, there's one man leading this attack who's still terrifying defenders week in, week out. He's the veteran, the finisher, and still one of the most reliable goal scorers in the world, Robert Lewandowski. People love to talk about age in football, and sure, Lewandowski isn't 25 anymore, but when you've got a striker who just scored 42 goals last season, you don't ask how old he is, you ask how he's still doing it. Because last season, even in a system that was still being adjusted, Lewandowski delivered. Not just tap-ins and not just poacher goals either. Headers, volleys, penalties under pressure, goals in big games. He led the line with authority. He was physical, he was clinical, and when Barcelona needed a moment, he was usually the one on the end of it. And here's the scary part, he could have scored more. Watch back some of those games. There were clear chances that he missed. One-on-ones, sitters inside the 6-yard box, moments you'd normally bet your life on him burying. But even with that, he still walked away with 42 goals. That tells you something. It tells you he's still elite, still sharp, and still hungry. And now, he's stepping into a second season under Hansi Flick, a manager who knows how to get the best out of him. Let's not forget, these two go way back to their Bayern Munich days. Flick knows Lewandowski's strengths, he understands how to get him into high-percentage scoring areas, how to surround him with service, and how to build a movement around him instead of asking him to create chances for himself. Under Flick at Bayern, Lewandowski hit some of the best numbers of his career. That connection matters. And with the new structure around him, Rafinha closer to him as a second striker, Nico Williams offering width on the left, and Lamine Yamal cutting in from the right, Lewandowski won't need to drop deep as much. He'll stay central, stay high, and do what he does best: score goals. He's no longer being asked to link play or carry the ball across 20 yards. Now he's going to receive passes in the box, crosses, cutbacks, through balls, constant service from all angles, and with players around him that draw attention, he'll find more space than he had last season. A sharper, more rested, more focused Lewandowski in that setup, that's a nightmare for defenders. And one more thing, he's still got that killer mentality. He's still obsessed with scoring. That hasn't changed. He's the leader of this front line, and you can bet he wants to prove that even at this stage in his career. He's not slowing down, he's just getting smarter. So, while everyone talks about new stars, Lewandowski's quietly gearing up to have another monster season. And with the structure Flick is building around him, he might just hit another level. But now, let's move to the youngest member of this front four, the one who's turning hype into reality right before our eyes, the player who shocked the world twice last season. It's time to talk about Lamine Yamal. He's only 17, but he's already showing the kind of game control, vision, and composure that you normally see from players in their prime. And that's the scary part, he's just getting started. Last season with Barcelona, Yamal wasn't just a spark off the bench, he became a consistent starter, trusted in big games, and he constantly delivered. He scored, he assisted, and most importantly, he didn't shy away when the pressure was on. He faced seasoned defenders and made them look uncomfortable. And it wasn't just dribbling or flair, it was his decision-making, when to pass, when to cut inside, when to slow the game down. You could see how much maturity he added to his game. He stopped rushing moments, he began to read spaces like a veteran, whether it was timing his runs or linking with midfielders like Bardghji and De Jong. He played like someone who understands the rhythm of elite football. But then came the Euros, and he leveled up again. He didn't just show up, he dominated. The world watched as this teenager stepped onto the biggest stage in Europe and acted like he belonged there. That's rare, very rare, and what makes it even more impressive is that he did it with confidence, not arrogance. His boldness came with purpose, and if you want a perfect example of that, just look at the Spain vs France Nations League showdown. Before the match, Yamal made a bold statement. He said, if the Ballon d'Or has to be decided in this game, then let it be. Now, you'd expect that from a seasoned Ballon d'Or contender, not a teenager. But guess what? In the second leg, when the pressure was even higher, he scored 2 more goals, 3 goals across 2 legs in one of the most important games of the tournament. That's not just talent, that's mentality. And now, heading into this new Barcelona season, Flick has him exactly where he needs to be, on the right side of this 4-man attack, cutting inside, linking with Lewandowski, playing off Bardghji's passes, switching positions with Rafinha. He's not limited to a touchline role. He's dynamic, free, and dangerous. The most exciting thing? We haven't seen his ceiling yet. And in this setup, with more freedom, more options around him, and a coach who encourages movement, Yamal's numbers are only going to rise. Now, there's one more name floating around the Barcelona camp right now. And no, he's not officially a Barca player yet, but all the signs are pointing towards a deal being finalized very soon. The name? Roony Bardghji. If you don't know much about him yet, it's time to start paying attention, because this kid isn't just talented, he's exactly the type of player Hansi Flick wants in his system. And assuming this deal goes through, Roony could be a crucial part of Barcelona's season. He's a creative technical winger, with a sharp left foot, excellent close control, and a real eye for goal. He's the kind of player who doesn't need much space to create something. A quick dribble, a feint, and suddenly he's inside the box with a shot on target. His ability to cut inside and shoot, especially from tight angles or outside the box, is impressive. Now here's the key part. Roony is just coming back from a long-term injury, so the expectation isn't for him to jump in and start every week. But if you watch him play, even now, there's still that spark. The sharpness in his movement, the calmness in front of the goal. It's clear he hasn't lost his instinct, he just needs rhythm, and he'll be dangerous again. If this transfer goes through, Flick gets something he didn't have last season, a natural rotation option for Lamine Yamal. Yamal can't play 90 minutes every 3 days across 4 competitions. Roony would be perfect for Super Copa matches, Copa del Rey games, and for stepping in when Yamal needs rest. He keeps the system balanced, brings flair, and most importantly, he doesn't drop the level. And that's crucial. When you're fighting on multiple fronts, you need depth, not just to fill gaps, but to maintain the pressure, to keep the goals coming. Roony Bardghji might not be the headline name right now, but if Barcelona seals the deal, they'll be getting a low-profile signing with high impact potential. And when you combine that depth with the freedom Flick gives his forwards to rotate, drift, and overwhelm defenders, you start to see why this team looks so dangerous. So now that we've talked about all the individuals, Rafinha, Nico Williams, Lewandowski, LamineYamal, and the soon-to-be signed Roony Bardghji, it's time to understand why this front line is terrifying. It's not just the names, it's the way they function together. Hansi Flick doesn't like players stuck in one role. He doesn't want rigid wingers who sit wide all game, or a striker who just waits in the box. What he wants is fluidity, constant movement, intelligent rotations, positional freedom. And now, he has exactly the kind of personnel to execute it. And because all 5 of these players are comfortable operating in different zones, the entire attack becomes rotational. You'll see Rafinha pop up on the right, Yamal drifting into the left half space, Nico takes up central positions when Lewandowski pulls wide. It's never predictable, and that's exactly what Flick wants. It's not just about scoring more, it's about creating chaos. Opposing defenders won't know who to track. Mark one and another pops up in the exact spot you just left open. That kind of automated movement and positional freedom is what separates top-level teams from the rest. And behind this rotating attack, you've got Pedri and Frenkie de Jong, 2 midfielders who are capable of reading the rotations, delivering pinpoint passes, and supporting the front line with their own movement and ball control. They're the engine, constantly connecting the chaos up front with stability in midfield. Put it all together, and what you have isn't just an exciting team, you have a machine built to win everything. There's depth, structure, individual brilliance, and tactical flexibility, and under Hansi Flick, it's all been carefully put into place. Now the question is the world ready for it? But what do you think? Can they win the treble with this attack? Well, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.